How you doing? I'm Jonathan McHugh, aka Q, and this is my lovely co-hostess with the mostest, Tamara Conniff, aka
T-Star.
I'm glad to be back for version number 2 of the Weekly Comet. How was your week?
You know what? My week was full of Comet news. The Comet.com was chock full of lots of news, which I know we'll get into a little bit later.
So, so you just worked on the Comet?
I literally just worked on the Comet.
You had a good holiday, though?
I did, actually. I know that you had a lot going on this weekend. I got some blog updates from you up there in the high Sierras.
Yeah, when I think I just come out of
Were you naked in a bathtub?
There was a situation.
There was a situation.
I went to this festival, and it was an amazing music festival with everybody from...
How does one get into a naked situation?
I'll go over that. My Morning Jacket, Ween, Warren Haynes, a band from Denver called Congress, which was amazing. A band from New York by way of Caracas called Los Amigos Invisibles.
Ooh.
And a bunch, just an amazing. One day I saw 13 bands, for example. So, but one of the groups I saw, one of the artists I saw was actually someone that my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, woke me up that morning. We were camping and said, "Dad, we got to go see this artist at 11:30 in the morning." I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, she was on the show The Voice."
Is your daughter 9?
She's 9 years old. And maybe she's watching out there, so Casey, thank you for this tip. But she had seen the show The Voice, and she had seen this artist, so we went over to see this woman named Rebecca. Last name?
Loebe.
Rhymes with?
Not gonna say it.
Floby. Come on. It's a gimme. It's a layup. Anyway, she hails from Atlanta,
Sorry,
Georgia.
Rebecca.
And she really, really impressed me. We happened to have a chat after, and she said she's playing the Hotel Cafe in LA, and she played here last night. And I said, "Well, can you stay over an extra day and come perform on our 2nd edition?"
And I think she's in the house.
And she's in the house. And so say hi to Rebecca Loebe.
It's hard to tend a garden on the road. About as tough as making love over the phone. Is home a box of overripe tomatoes? Just a closet full of hangers, 4 stray walls between you and the air. It's easy to believe you when you say that you're not sure you were made to live this way. Like a truant with a talent, or a bard who's lost your balance. Peter Pan who flew unsown and dare through every wall between you and the air. May the road lay you down easy when you go with champagne. May you know the kindest strangers. May you never drive through rain. May your sunsets all be sweeter when you're gone. May your good friends always greet you with a song. May your bread always be buttered and the whiskey flow like water. Find you kind and true and fair. And may your stars be counting on a vagabond prayer.
Chris Lennertz, ladies and gentlemen.
Chris, what's going on?
Dear, how are you?
It's so good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
World famous composer. Actually, we had our first guest last week, Gary Calamar.
Who I love.
So you basically are our second guest and our first composer ever.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent.
So congratulations on that high honor right there.
I will
so
take it.
Lennertz I've known for years. He's had an unbelievable run for the last couple of years. Movies like Marmaduke, Hop this year, Alvin and the Chipmunks. My daughter turned me on to a TV movie I had to watch called Lemonade Mouth. He's just done an amazing amount of comedies, and he did a cool Sundance film a couple years ago called Adam. The last couple of years is just literally, much like the Comet, a meteoric rise for Chris Lennertz. Can you talk about what you've done differently in the last couple of years to be able to get to this place where you're kind of getting into that top line of composers in the business?
I think the thing that I did more than anything else is sort of get to the point where I stopped worrying about where I was as a composer. I think that's the most important thing. I think one of the reasons I became a composer is because I'm sort of ADD anyway. So I don't like to just write classical or just do, play guitar. I grew up playing Metallica and Zeppelin covers, but I also conduct. So I didn't like the idea of doing one kind of thing all the time anyway. So, so often in our business, people, when you do something, people want you to do that same thing over and over again. And, for a while I was doing a lot of horror TV and horror stuff. And then I got to the point where I'm like, I'm going to do whatever kind of turns me on and whatever I think is cool. And especially in terms of working with, bands. I did strings for Ozo Motley's record 2 records ago, and I just like doing things that I think are cool and fun, and I especially like it when a comedy, family comedy is followed up by something that's the opposite, a slasher film or whatever else. So for me, I sort of about 5 years ago said, I'm just gonna do stuff I like and have fun with it and work with people I like. And once you stop worrying about where your career is and who and where, everything gets a lot easier. It's just fun. Yeah.
Well, when I interviewed you for the Comet.com, you said you were just on the Warner Brothers lot with like a huge orchestra, and then you were going to like Skywalker Ranch.
I was.
To work on a video game. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty
Well,
diverse.
I would say, and it's kind of the right audience for this, but I can honestly say that so much of my success in film and everything else has come from video games. And my first video game was I took over from Mike Giacchino on Medal of Honor.
Right.
Wow, and then I did that. I did Gun and Warhawk and all the James Bond games for the last couple of years. And the thing I love about video game makers and video game fans and players is they're just awesome. Like they're such geeks, and I mean this in the nicest way because I'm a geek. Trust me, I am.
He's definitely a geek.
He knows me. I am totally that guy. But but they love the stuff. It's like when you first saw Jaws or Star Wars or Close Encounters, you just freak out. It becomes your whole world, and you get the action figures and get the thing, and you read the comic books and do whatever. That's what I feel like video games are all about. So they get fired up, and I've got I did a concert in Germany, and somebody's ringtone was my theme for the 3rd Medal of Honor that I did, and it's like, and I didn't even know who this person was, and their phone went off, and I was like, holy, that's cool. And that to me has been a really big difference in my career, because I think because I'm younger and maybe because I was from that world, I ended up sort of touching some of the younger audiences with my music and kind of went from there.
Well, you're a guitarist, and you obviously love rock music.
I do.
And you put together this amazing, you basically put together a rock band.
Yep.
To do the score for Horrible Bosses.
I did.
With members of Beck and Beastie Boys. Like, tell us about who you put together and.
So our band we had Mike McCready, the guitarist from Pearl Jam. We had Stefan Lassard from Dave Matthews, the bass player. We also had Chris Chaney from Jane's Addiction, their bass player. Victor Andrizo from Beck. We had Money Mark was a big key to this sound, and Money Mark. Besides Beastie Boys, all the stuff from Check Your Head, What You Want, all that stuff. Plus Money Mark, he did that. He did the Beck opening on the Wurlitzer, and he actually used the same Wurlitzer on this score. So basically, the idea was to get all those guys. We just had a bunch of amazing musicians on there. If I forgot anybody, pardon me. But the idea was to just hole ourselves up at the Village and come up with this. And so we really, there were cues that we started in one way and decided we needed to slow them down. And I really looked at it as I was producing a record. Once the music was written, my job was to produce it and really make it sound like a record, not like a score. Water Tower's releasing the record, which is Warner's soundtrack label.
Good old Jason Lin.
Yeah,
Nice work,
Jason
kid.
Lin did a great job. He was at all the sessions and
Good.
impaired, very, very cool about the whole thing. And so all the tracks are actually lines from the movie. There's some great liners, all this kind of stuff. But the other thing that you get to hear, besides the score for the movie, there's about 5 or 6 tracks that are actual jams that are extended versions of the song that are not in the film,
cool.
but they're the main themes all put together in much more song form. And the other thing you get is there's a song called "This Is How I Roll," which is the end credits to the movie that I co-wrote with Money Mark and Todd Bozong from the movie. And Money Mark sings on it, raps on it, and it's
So you really got
awesome.
to step out of the Marmaduke hop lane of scoring a movie.
Yes.
And just got to rock the hell out.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of what I did 6
And you
months
just
ago,
love
and I love it.
every minute of it
Fantastic.
because it's your rock
Yep.
guy at heart. Movie comes out tomorrow.
It does. Go
Go
see
see
it.
the movie.
Go see the
Please
movie.
go see it.
See the movie.
I'm not lying. It's so funny. If you loved Hangover,
So are you
if
giving
loved
money back guarantees? Because
Bridesmaids,
they'll come after us. They will come after us if it's not funny, just so you
It
know.
will make you laugh.
These
I
people will come.
promise.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Lennertz.
Thank you,
man.
guys.
Hey there, Eric Weiner, reporting to you from Brooklyn, New York. Manhattan skyline behind me. I'm here to tell you about a band you should listen to. They're called Freelance Whales, and they're from much that way, Queens, New York. Now, they got their start by busking in the New York City subway system, which means that they were performing for change. They were found and received a lot of exposure from commercials, actually. Chevy, Starbucks, Twitter, all used their music for campaigns they had. We recently had the band to our home studio over in Ditmas Park, Brooklyn, for a little session. Check that out here. Freelance Whales. You can follow them on Twitter, like them on Facebook, find them on MySpace. Try to see them live. They're really great. Check out their album, Weather Vanes. It's on iTunes, Amazon, wherever you buy your music. Goodbye from New York.
I
Anyway.
love him. I love getting our underground scene from New York. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
he's
you,
a little
Eric.
hipster from Brooklyn. So we're going to do more with him, and this way it's one big country. It ain't just LA. It's everything in
One
between.
big world.
Everything in between.
No?
News?
Let's do some news.
You want to talk some news?
Let's talk news.
All right. My old boy I used to work with at Jive Records.
That's right.
Justin
you go
Timberlake.
way back with Justin Timberlake.
Quick funny story about Justin Timberlake. The first time Britney Spears ever did Saturday Night Live, they were friendly at that point.
They were going out, you mean?
And yeah, right. And I was literally sitting in the green room with Timberlake and watching Britney, and I said to him, and this is like he'd had an NSYNC fame, but he'd never done any acting or anything like that. He'd never done that thing, and he was like studying the whole thing. And I said, so do you see yourself acting and doing stuff down the line? He's like, nah, I don't know, man. I'm not really feeling like that's me. I'm a music guy. So meanwhile, Timberlake hasn't been in the studio in 2 years.
2 years.
Because he's busy killing the world of acting, and obviously he's got the Mila Kunis movie coming out. But the news this week is all of a sudden he's a part owner of MySpace.
Well, what's interesting about it is that, Rupert Murdoch literally bought MySpace in 2005 for $580 million, and now JT walks in and scoops it up for a cool $35 million.
That's a bargain.
Yeah, he got a bargain on it, and the big question is he going to bring MySpace back? I'm actually curious to see what.
You mean bring sexy back or bring
Well,
MySpace back?
that's kind of what I was saying.
Because he hasn't
I was doing a
brought.
double
It was an entendre situation. But
But
yeah,
I want to know what the chat room thinks. Like, what do you guys think about MySpace? Brittany?
is MySpace still hot? Can it come back?
That's what I'm wondering, because I know I don't use it anymore. No one's saying
Everyone's
that
like,
they use it. So yeah, I don't know.
It's
It's
just
gonna be kind of hard.
interesting to me. I mean, it's definitely a dead brand. So, and I've heard Johnny
It's not
Wright.
dead because it's still on the
Well,
air.
it's pretty
But
dead. It's like the ghetto of the internet.
And what about your friend Simon LeBon? How's he
Simon
doing?
LeBon.
You guys went to college together, didn't you?
Me and Simon went to college together. Don't tell everybody.
I'm just kidding.
Simon is not doing so well. He actually lost his voice, and they had to cancel.
Where did he leave it?
Duran had to cancel their entire tour. I'm very sad about this. I was a Duranie.
Really?
I was, when I was
Hungry Like the Wolf was all about
13.
you, huh?
And so they've had to cancel their entire tour, but they will reschedule it as soon as Mr. Laban gets his vocals back. And this is news that's right up your alley. So Pia, American Idol,
Pia Toscano?
who got kicked off of American Idol, even though we all loved her. Finally, they announced that she signed to Interscope.
Right, because there's too many country acts that won and
What
came in
do
first and
you
second, and
think-
Interscope doesn't have a country label. So we got to have some acts on the label.
Yeah, but they're doing though in Mercury, Nashville now?
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah. So Interscope, your
Sister label.
Sister label. What do you think about Pia?
I did not spend enough time watching my friend Randy Jackson's show this year. I'm really sorry to say that. So I don't have enough Pia knowledge to be literate about it.
Okay, well we'll get him to
But by the
brush
way,
up on that.
if Jimmy Iovine's signing her, she got to be hot, because he only signs hot.
That's true.
Speaking of hot,
Hot!
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
Hey, I want to
everybody.
know what
oh my
the.
God, this is so crazy.
Wait, what did they say about that? What's your name? Brittany?
Down.
Any Charlie Sheen people out there?
Is
What
there
do they say?
anyone out there that's down with the clown?
I don't think anybody's down with Charlie Sheen at this point. I think he's kind of losing followers. They're all making fun of him pretty much.
What do they say? Give me one choice one.
They said by clowning. That was my favorite.
What is it?
By clowning instead of by winning.
By clowning, because
famous
he's
phrase.
down with Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Tila Tequila performed at the gathering of the Juggalos last year, and she got pelted with rocks because she sucked. So if
Wow.
Charlie doesn't bring it, the
Don't make it,
Insane-
Charlie. Don't make it the Detroit show. Make it the Chicago show.
Yeah,
okay?
because you're gonna get basically stoned.
Yeah, it's a tough crowd. Those insane
Wow.
clown people.
Yeah, you and
kinda
Vanilla
nutty.
Ice,
Ice, baby.
baby.
So what do you think? A little more music?
I have traveled many fathoms, lived inside a covered wagon, sold my secrets wholesale every night. I've broken bread with petty tyrants, smuggled wine to fallen giants, battled demons right before your eyes. Now I try oceanside to govern the rolling tide, swallowed by the sea, beckon from the shore, tempted by a sweet roar. Baby, don't let me be swallowed by the sea. I've lived on luck and social graces, counted cards and covered bases, made believe till I was making do. Now where do I draw the line between victuals and valentines? Swallowed by the sea, beckon from the shore, tempted by a sweet roar. I don't wanna be hungry anymore. quiet, mighty Pharaoh reads my heart like holy tarot. Hold on, baby, please don't let me be swallowed by the sea, begging from the shore, tempted by the sweet roar. I don't wanna be a pawn in any war, but I can't fight alone no more. Baby, don't let me be swallowed by the sea, swallowed by the sea, swallowed by the sea.
Amazing.
And next week we'll have more awesome guests, some awesome musical talent, and some
More of Q
wisdom,
and T-Star.
people like wisdom, like Gary Calamar and Chris Lennertz, and all these big shot people we'll be bringing in here week to week. But make sure you have good questions for them. And be snappy, be smart, because Brittany, her fingers move very quick. She needs to respond to you, and you need to respond to her.
And check back at thecomet.com. I'll be updating over the course of the week who we're going to have on next Thursday. So
Right,
you
you
can
can check
be
for that.
aware and get prepared.
And the stream.tv is your destination for these awesome programs.
That's
so,
right.
hey, thanks for coming out.
Hasta la vista. Thank
Love you guys. Love you long time.
Woo!